But I love this picture because now she's in the middle of gorilla world, and there's a gentleman behind her with a machete. You can see him hanging on to her just like that. I mean, it looks like she's been stolen and she's going to never come home again. Of course, that's what my mother thought was going to happen to us, but we came home. So these are guides walking through the forest with us. And we're going through a lot of bamboo. And so we have, you know, kind of push our way through and stuff like that. It's not like it's a big highway going through there or anything. But we're pretty excited because right there is a gorilla. And then when you look at them a little bit closer, they're just phenomenal. They're just sitting there eating leaves. And then this one's carrying a baby on her back. So he hangs on, and they hang on for about 3 years. So I don't think it would be a whole lot of fun to be a gorilla mama. But you can see how just cute they are. I mean, it reminded me so much of my dog. I was convinced that that is my grail right there. And some of the plants that they're eating right now are thistles. Shoot. What's that stuff you touch around here and it burns? Nettles. Thank you. That's what we were walking through. And so on all these travel blogs and stuff, I heard, oh man, wear really heavy pants because the nettles in Africa are really bad. They'll get you, and you gotta wear gloves and all that stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, these must be horrible, you know, because the nettles here are bad enough. These must be just outrageous. Well, I just want to tell you, the Adirondacks have nastier nettles than they have over there in Rwanda. Now remember, we're supposed to be staying 21 feet away from the gorillas. That'd be 7 meters. And the gorillas don't know that. But we were schooled in that down at the lodge, so we knew we could only get that close to them. And then, of course, we have cameras that can get a little closer, but we got closer than sometimes we actually wanted to. But the other amazing thing is how they just mat down the vegetation. So you can see a group of, the first day we saw 14 gorillas, and the second day we had a group of 30, of which we saw 26 of them. And where they were sitting, all of the vegetation was just matted down. And there were flies all over the place, and you're thinking, wow, they must just trash this forest. But it grows back really quickly. And they're stripping the leaves off the nettles. And they eat celery. Wild celery is a big thing. You can see this silverback's got a little silver to it. There's a little rider attached. This one is, I think, 3 months old. And so they actually, all the guides and stuff, know the names of all the gorillas and when they had their babies and who the father was and all that good stuff. Just to show you how excited we were, we couldn't take pictures. They're always perfect. But sometimes you get a little too close to the gorillas, and in this short little video clip that I'm going to show you in a minute, I actually didn't know I had my camera running. I'm going to explain it as... So my camera's just kind of dangling down by the side. See a gorilla bird? You think it looks big there, you ought to see it when it's really right next to you. There's my grass stain. I fell down. The gorilla, actually what had happened is our group got between a silverback and the rest of the gorilla group. And the silverback decided that he was going to join the rest of his crew. So he just starts away, and we're trying to get out of his way, and he comes by, and just very gently with his knuckles, hits this girl that's beside me, throws her into me, and the two of us land on the ground. we don't actually hit the ground because there's so much vegetation we bounce right back up. And then he goes right on by. I'm not kidding, his butt was this wide. That was the biggest gorilla butt I've ever seen. But it was pretty exciting, and I didn't want to wash those pants for a long time. Oops, skip the slide. Okay. Well, that almost looks like a gorilla reading a newspaper, but he's playing with the bamboo. And now this is a group that we found when they were in the bamboo. So the lighting is some little spots of sunlight going through, but there's my sister kind of being one with a gorilla. And he's just sitting there. Because this is pretty much what the adults do. They either are sitting and eating or just sitting. And then you got the younger ones, which are kind of hanging around, doing what younger ones do. When everybody's trying to take a nap, they're kind of playing. And one of the things I learned about gorillas, they have little white hairs on their butt. I never knew that. But you keep watching, you'll see little white hairs on many of their butts. And it's just kind of phenomenal to see that big belly hanging down there. And then the younger ones climb up in the bamboo, play around a little. And then there are these gourds. We have a video here where they're playing with them here in a second. So this is more of a view from actually being in the forest, looking up at the top of the volcanoes. And a lot of this stuff is the type of stuff that the gorillas wouldn't. This woman was my hero because she had a gun, and she, I think, was the only woman that wasn't picking potatoes. I don't know how she managed to get out of that job, but what she did is when we went through the forest, we had to have guns with us, and there was obviously a guide that would carry those guns. And it wasn't for the gorillas, it was for the other wild animals that were in the forest. They had water buffalo, and they had forest elephants. And so at one time when we were going through, they had to redirect our route because there was water buffalo up ahead, and you couldn't go near them because they were rather sensitive and they would chase you. So it was kind of interesting. Now the lodge that we stayed at was really pretty nice because they packed our lunch for us on the days, and these nice little wicker baskets had our little lunch in there, and we just stuffed them in our backpack and away we went. Cheese sandwiches and Snickers bars. So now we're coming down out of the mountains, and these are potato fields. And they rode up their potatoes pretty nicely. Eucalyptus trees, which they harvested regularly. And then this was probably a school group, so some young kids, and the young kids have younger kids hanging on. So on the second day, these were the groups that we were working with, but these are much better pictures of those sticks that they hand carve, and then you can use those for the day. And these would be our porters. So as mean looking as they were very nice people, and they never spoke a word. They just took your bag, and whatever you asked them to do, it seemed like they understood you, and then away they went. But they knew at the end of the day they were bringing home $10. So here we are, checking for nettles. Now, I wish I had this on video, because this guy was explaining to us how gorillas eat celery. And so there he's peeling a wild celery, and he does all the vocalizations that a gorilla would do when it's eating celery. And I swore you were watching a gorilla, it was amazing. And now what we do when we get close to the gorillas, you have to put all your stuff down, and you can only take your camera. And so we knew we were close to the gorillas because there was one right there. And you can smell them. They have like a urine type of smell, ammonia type of smell. And it was pretty strong at times. But this was a group of 30. And so we moved into that area. And they were, you know, moving around a little bit. This guy was a little bit scared, so he was moving quickly through an area. And the guides just did a couple grunts and slowed him right down. And this was an interesting trio. There's a silverback here, and then there are two twins here. These are 7 years old, the twins are. And the silverback was not the old silverback of the group. He was like medium size, so he got stuck babysitting the twins. And that's how close we were. And you can see the silverback sitting right there. So it was like a year to the wall. But you know, I was kind of used to wild animals, so it didn't scare me too often. But this is my Dalton. Middle school boy, just kind of goofy. There you have it. That's what these gorillas were like. Posturing for the camera. Trying to get the humans to play with him a little bit. And he had to be told, no, 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 go away. And then this guy is looking at his wound that he received on his arm, or his hand. I have it in the picture coming up, but he got bit by another gorilla. You wouldn't think they could hurt them with all that hair. There it is. Apparently he got caught with somebody else's girl. So you can hear the guy's voice. He's kind of telling us what's going on. That's the same dog. This one gorilla gets up and actually walks. Here he goes. That was pretty impressive. It was really interesting to watch the dynamics, group dynamics. You could really tell, you know, kind of what they were thinking. So every once in a while, we just had to pinch ourselves and say, hey, we're in Africa. You know, this is really happening right in front of us. It was quite amazing. And it was like every gorilla we saw was a new, wonderful experience. And they did get up in the trees. They actually, the younger ones and the smaller adults will make their nest in the trees at night, and they'll sleep up there. That's a nest. Their silverbacks will stay on the ground. Of course, they can't get up there; they fall down. So this guy was about 20 feet up, I think. If I remember it. It's kind of funny because the big guy's trying to take it out. Remember, he's got his 7-year-old twins there to watch. You guys are going to get startled in a minute. Now you heard the guide. He did that growling kind of thing, telling him it's okay, because we were really close to these guys. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, that was kind of scary. And just a beautiful animal, and particularly, you know, you can see this size of the skull, the muscle attachment that goes in there, and you can tell how powerful those jaws have got to be. And I think I got a little baby. Oh yeah, okay, we got twins here. There's one in here and one over here. These, I think, are just a month old. Kids got to kick out of this.
Photos. You still have 3 minutes. 3 minutes more.
Pretty good at that, isn't she? It's just amazing. So this the big silverback sitting right back here, and he's pretty much ready to leave for the day. And the interesting thing is, when our hour was up, because you only could stay with the gorillas for an hour, it wasn't the people that said the hours were up, it was the gorillas. After an hour, they got up and went away.
Take the last photo. Big word is number 1. Take the photo. Okay.
Now you notice how brave I am. I'm right behind that guy's shoulder. But he came right through there. You know, but it just didn't take him long at all. And there's the last little gorilla headed out right there. That's a pretty good size animal. So just a couple of biology-related things. First of all, gorillas hang out in family groups, so pretty much everybody's related. However, they do move from group to group on occasion, so the young ones, young males in particular, will get kicked out and have to find their own little group. There is a dominant male called the silverback, but he does tolerate having some younger ones around as long as they promise to stay subordinate. And it takes them about 8 years to reach maturity, but gorillas, if all the conditions are well, could live 35 years or so. So that's pretty amazing, because the actual lifespan for the humans in Rwanda was like 40-something. And now the mountain gorillas are protected by those 3 countries that we've been showing, and their population at this time is a little over 700 gorillas, which is going back up. So the gorillas really needed some help, and they got that help, and now there is basically a sanctuary, if you will, where they've got a place to hang out. Leaving the park, you'll hear a little boy say goodbye to us. Mzungas. Okay, so I would not be offended if anybody wanted to leave, because I know we've pushed an hour already, but I am going to continue on and talk about people and culture a little bit. So feel free whenever you need to, just with the last person out, make sure you tell me that you're the last one out, because I really can't see you out there. There's that whole spotlight there.